Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and I have a really fun technique for you. And I think it's a variation on these triangle corners that we used to do a long time ago. A lot of you started with creative memories way back when we used to do strips and triangles. And I know when I go back and look at some of my earlier albums, I see lots of strips and triangles. But this is kind of a little bit of a variation on it. And it's four triangles in the corners, and it's just a lot of fun. And every time I do it, it looks so different. And you can do it with so many different um, paper packs. These were just some ones that I had laying around. And you see, it's just a lot of fun. So let's get started. You want to have some coordinated colors. So tonight I'm going to use secret box number 2. What I have some of the pages, but you're going to need two bases because you need a outside base and an inside base. So your outside base is a 12 by 12, and we're going to cut the inside base to 11.5 by 11.5. So you need two papers that are going to coordinate. So I try to just, when I decide on my papers, kind of layer them like this so I know what I'm looking at. And then you need a couple of different papers for your triangles. You need a bigger triangle and a smaller triangle, and then you need a really big one in the middle. So again, I'm going to just kind of layer my paper here. So I'm going to maybe use this bright pattern, and then this on top, and then this will, so as I'm playing around with my papers, just to kind of see um, what I might use. Those are my two bases. And then these are my triangles that are going to go up in the corner. And then this is the bigger triangle that's going to go in the middle. So I try to coordinate my colors ahead of time before I start cutting so I'm not wasting so much paper. Okay, so because we're doing a double base, we don't want to waste all the paper because we're going to be covering it with another base, another inner base. So we're going to do a 2-inch hollow frame on the outside of this first base. Okay, so let's get our binder clips, and we're going to we're actually going to make a little gate so our blade doesn't go past a certain point. We're going to put our paper at the 2-inch mark. Okay, and we're going to slide our housing unit, and this is the housing unit for your trimmer. We're going to slide the housing unit to the number 3 position on your rail guides. So the bottom of your, here we go, the bottom of your housing unit is going to meet the number 3. And now I'm going to put a binder clip, just a small little binder clip, on the back of that. Okay, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm making kind of a gate for the blade. And the reason I'm doing that is because you're going to be cutting 1 inch. The little white mark here on the housing unit shows me where the blade is cutting, and it's exactly 1 inch from the blade to the either side of the housing unit. So I want my blade to stop at the 10-inch mark at the bottom. So I'm going to slide my housing unit to the 11-inch mark so that my blade will cut at 10. All right, and now I'm going to put a binder clip on the in front of the housing unit. Okay, so the one at the top is behind the housing unit, and the one at the bottom is in front of the housing unit. Okay, and it's stopping, the top stops at 3, and at the bottom stops at 11. Okay, so now that we have our binder clips in, it's going to go much faster. We're going to just push down and cut down to our binder clip. Turn your paper to the left. Slide it back in at the 2-inch mark. And because you have your binder clips, you can even go from the bottom up to the top. Turn your paper to the left again, 2-inch mark. Go between your binder clips, turn your paper to the left again, and at the 2-inch mark. Okay, so now you have a 2-inch hollow frame, which is your base. Oh, for some reason, this one didn't clip all the way. I'm just going to cut it with my microchip scissor. Okay, so now you have a 2-inch hollow frame, and that is going to be your outside base. And you can use this for mats on this next page, or you can use it for another page. Okay, now your middle piece, while we have our binder clips in, your big middle piece that you're going to have, that's going to be your biggest triangle, this big piece here. That is going to get cut to 7.5 by 7.5. But instead of just cutting a rectangle and making it 7.5 by 7.5, let's again make a 2-inch hollow frame out of this, since we already have our binder clips in. Okay, and now we're going to, and then we'll cut it to 7.5 by 7.5. So we're going to again put it at the 2-inch mark, cut between our binder clips, turn to the left, 2-inch mark. And the reason I'm doing this is because you can make a whole nother page out of this by cutting it this way, as opposed to just making a 7.5 by 7.5 rectangle. Now you can have another page. Okay, so here we go. This is what I cut away. And I'm going to save this because this can become another page. Actually, this, from what I just cut apart, that makes a whole nother page just like that. And so now with this 8-inch square, we're going to go back and cut this down to 7.5 by 7.5. So let's remove our binder clips. And this is going to be 7.5 by 7.5. So we just need to cut 2 sides. So let's place this at 7.5 on one side. Open the arm of your trimmer. And then turn it to the left and 7.5. Okay, and this is going to become your big piece that's going to go in the middle, your big triangle. I'll do it this way so you can see the numbers. And then always hold on to these 1/2-inch strips because there's so much you can do with 1/2-inch strips. Okay, now our inside base, we're going to cut to 11.5 by 11.5 square. So we just need to, again, just cut 2 sides. So I'm going to put it on my trimmer at 11.5. Cutting one side, turn to the left and 11.5. Okay, and now let's go ahead and let's place this on our outside base. So it just gives you a really nice little frame, and that seems to be a really nice look now. Frames up your pages, almost makes it look like it's in an actual picture frame. Okay, so the 11.5 by 11.5, we're going to center it right on top of that 2-inch hollow frame base that we made. Okay, and now this 7.5 by 7.5 is going to go right on the diagonal, and you're going to line it up. You're going to line your points up at the 6-inch marks at your top and bottoms of your mats. And I'm going to use my repositionable tape for the points here, because I want to make sure that the points are not going to pop up when I put it on my page. Okay, so 6-inch mark, and all your points are going to be centered on that 6-inch mark. Now, if you're not sure, grab a ruler and just kind of, you know, line it up from 6-inch to 6-inch, and then get your points underneath it. And sometimes you just have to move it around just a little bit. And then again, 6-inch to 6-inch, side to side. Make sure your points are pointing to the 6-inch marks, top and bottom. So that now becomes your big middle piece. Now, to do the other triangles, we need two other different papers. And the bigger triangle, this is what it's going to layer to here. The bigger triangles, we start with a 4.5 by 4.5 square, and we need 2 of these. Okay, so we're going to do 4.5. This is the outside, the bigger triangle. 4.5 once and 4.5 twice. Okay, and now to make the triangle, I'm going to take my 2 squares, line them one on top of each other, put them so that they become a diamond, and line those points right up on your cut line. Line the points up on your cut line and cut right through the middle. Okay, and those now will become your bigger triangles. And we're going to do the same thing with the next paper, but now we're going to be 3.5 by 3.5, and we need 2 of those. So I'm going to do a 3.5, and then another 3.5. So 2 3.5-inch squares. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line them up, layer them one on top of the other, place them like a diamond, and let's put them on your cut line and make a triangle. Okay, and that is all there is to this particular layout. So let's assemble. We're going to put the big triangles down first. And I'm going to, again, use my repositionable tape because I don't want them to be, you know, popping up. And what I'm doing here is I am lining this up at about 3/4 of an inch in from the sides. And once I get the second one down, I'll show you why I'm lining it up this way so that the lines become even all the way around. Okay, so what I did was I am lining up the edge here. Okay, so that edge is about 3/4 of an inch in. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. And then I'm going to just add my smaller triangle right into the middle. Just like that. And I'm going to put my, again, I'm using my repo tape on my points for my smaller triangles so that they don't lift up. And those are just going to get centered right onto my bigger triangles. You just center them right there. And then you just embellish with stickers or a title. And it's a very fast and easy page. And it's a variation on the triangle pages that we used to do. So I'm going to make this sunny days. And let's put it that way. So if people always ask, where do you put your photos on these? So, oh, but first, before I do that, let me show you. This is what we had left over from what we cut out. So remember that other frame that we cut? That was the piece that was the inside triangle. That now can become an outer frame for another page. And then the piece that you took out of here can become another page just like that. And now you have a facing page out of what you just created. So where are you going to put your photos on this? So you can do 4x4s. Sometimes you can do, a couple 4x4s and a 4x6. That would actually work out really well. You could also, now depending on how big your titles are, and if you have a title at the top and the bottom, you could do a 4-inch circle. And the 4-inch circle is really circle number 1 with the red on the outside. So you could layer some circles there and do a 4x6 or do a 4x4. So you do have quite a bit of flexibility here. You could also do your circles on the bottom or in the middle. So you can fit, 3 or 4 pictures on the page, depending on how you cut them and depending on if you have one title or two things on the bottom. So I hope you like the technique. It's really a fun one. It's a variation on the triangles that we used to do. Tell me which one you liked better. This was Secret Box, was the one on the left, which was Sunny Days. I have Graduation, and also this was Sweet Summer from another collection. Okay, so tune in to another one of my classes. I am on YouTube. It's Bev DeBono Designs, and I have quite a few videos that are recorded there. Thanks a lot. See you again. Bye-bye.